As you can see, I've just been enjoying a long winter's nap. Sorry about the missed weeks. We had an exclusive broadcast deal with Bally Sports, and it ended up meaning that literally nobody could watch any of the recaps for the last 2 months. But we sorted it out, and now, as long as you're willing to pay $27.99 a month, you'll get these championship previews. Better yet, if you're watching this right now, it means your PayPal account has been auto-drafted for a 24-month subscription. Congratulations. In a league where it came down to the last week of the regular season to determine every single spot in the playoffs, this year's postseason turned out to be just as wild. We had two upsets in the first round as both Taylor and Jennifer went in as higher seeds but lost in the first round to Charles and Heather. Let's look back at all four games. Heather is perhaps the strongest number 6 seed in the history of fantasy football with nearly 1,900 points scored in the regular season. She followed it up with a Week 16 high of 162 points in Round 1. Amari Cooper scored 51 points all by himself. That's the second most points any player has scored in a single game all year. That's as many points as Juan scored in Week 9. Look it up. Christian McCaffrey continued doing his thing, and Heather rolled to a 28-point win. But Jennifer shouldn't feel too bad about this loss. Remember back at the beginning of the year when I made jokes about her being winless through the first 3 weeks? And then she went 9-3 the rest of the way? Guess who's laughing now? Well, I guess it's still me because I've not been eliminated yet, but I guess we could all have a good laugh. Speaking of me, is this real life? Did the Mongeese sneak into the playoffs as the number 7 seed and then knock off Taylor in the first round by nearly 40 points? What kind of weird timeline are we living in? One where the Jets' running game scores as many points as Deebo Samuel, Austin Eckler, and Derrick Henry combined? One where Patrick Mahomes can go 9 weeks where he only gets over 20 points once, and the owner still manages to even make the playoffs, let alone win a game there? A timeline where the Mongeese drafted every injured superstar and then cobbled together a season until the playoffs start, and then they finally get all of their pieces together for once? Somebody call an ambulance. But not for me. Taylor had a great season, almost securing the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs and finished the regular season with the 3rd most points overall. He also wasn't afraid to turn his roster as he finished with 29 moves, the 2nd most in the league behind Charles's 39 transactions. On the other side of the bracket, Ashley beat Drake by almost 50, which, if you've watched her team all year, shouldn't come as a surprise. Both Puka Nacua and Lamar Jackson put up great days, and because she's a huge BISD fan, Rashee Rice from Richland High School chipped in another 12. Ashley lapped the field this year, scoring 2,003 points in the regular season. I'm pretty sure that's the 2nd most points anyone has ever scored, behind Ryan's 2016 2 years ago. Speaking of 2 years ago, Ashley is trying to secure her 2nd championship in 3 years and looks well positioned to do it. Drake did his best, being down to his 3rd quarterback and down his top wide receiver, though many just didn't have the horses this time. In his first season in the league, in addition to season-ending injuries, Drake had a tough schedule with his opponent scoring 1,800 points across the season. He snuck into the playoffs as the number 8 seed, winning the tiebreaker against Jeff by only 6 points. One more touchdown either way could have meant a different playoff picture entirely. And finally, in the only close game of Week 16, April came away with the victory over Caitlin. For Caitlin, you have to wonder if Trevor Lawrence hadn't gotten hurt, what could have happened? His backup finished with enough points that she would have won if he'd played the rest of the game. Alas, that's not how it works in fantasy football. Caitlin also had the 2 highest scoring players in the game, with both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Calvin Ridley scoring over 25 points. For April, she hates the Cowboys, so I'm sure she was elated to watch Jason Sanders kick 5 field goals against Dallas. She got solid days from almost everyone on our team, including Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, and DK Metcalf. Devontae Adams will need to play better, though, if she's going to continue advancing. Let's take a look at this week's playoff games. I'm actually skipping the consolation bracket because, come on, is anybody actually interested in who finishes 5th through 8th place? In the upper bracket, April takes on Heather. Heather has Devontae Smith to help her cancel out some of Jalen Hurts' production, but you know that the Eagles are just going to run the ball at the goal line anyway. April is once again betting against the Cowboys doing well by starting Jahmyr Gibbs, who will probably run for like 9 yards a carry against Dallas. Losing Amari Cooper this week for Heather is a real bummer, and it looks like she may be down a running back as well. But that running back surprisingly isn't Christian McCaffrey, so she may just win this week anyway. Go Sports. In the other matchup, I'm sure this fantasy football game will be the most memorable part of Ashley's week. The most important decision that she'll make is whether to start Nico Collins or Rashee Rice. For me to win, it'll take a minor miracle. Patrick Mahomes will need to actually do something for the first time in 3 months. Same for Stephon Diggs. My best hope is that nobody questions the new stipulation that I snuck into the rule book as commissioner. In order to advance in the playoffs, an owner must be within the continental United States during said game. It actually worked against Taylor, so let's see if we can use it again this week. Good luck, everybody. Happy New Year.